A young boy relentlessly rang the bell of an old, disheveled house, hearing his own heavy breathing underneath the horrific green monster mask he wore. Its eyes were hollow and empty, and the eye holes of the mask were just big enough for the innocent child hiding underneath to see, yet whoever would observe the mask would simply not have the opportunity to see his eyes, unless they looked closely. It also had large, thick horns, long pointed ears, and an upturned pig-like nose abundant with fake hairs. Its twisted, fanged maw, however, is what scared people the most, or at least that was what the child assumed. Before trick-or-treating, he would always pour water into the mouth of the horrific beast, in order to amplify the fact that the abomination was salivating, plagued with a ferocious hunger that only human flesh would quell. The child couldn't wait any longer as he urgently rang the bell as if his life depended on it. He was supposed to return home to his parents in 10 minutes, and he did not want to waste any more of his time dilly-dallying. Now, it was time to scare someone. When he saw the lights inside the house turn on, he jumped down the 3 steps of the porch and hid behind a large bush, making sure his black cloak and large horns weren't visible to the owner of the house, as they would eventually exit with a bowl of candy. He saw a pale old man slowly open the front door with a drawn-out creak. The boy didn't know if the noise came from the door or from the old man's bones. The old man was withered and frail in appearance, having just barely enough strength to hold the blue bowl filled to the brim with colorful treats, a bowl with the phrase, "Take no more than 2, please," written on it in the crude handwriting of a man who constantly shook. The man reminded him of his grandfather, who had a condition he forgot the name of. It started with a P, and his mother would often talk about it, but he couldn't muster up the name of the condition, no matter how hard he thought about it. Then he snapped out of it. No more dilly-dallying. It's time. The man shambled over to an old rocking chair that sat around 1.5 feet to his left, before gently setting the bowl down onto it. He then shambled back to the center of the porch, standing in front of the door, which was still open. He barely managed to call out, "Hello?" The boy then jumped out from behind the bush, making shrill, monstrous rasps as he started to crawl up the stairs on all 4s. He expected the man to be briefly startled by this, before laughing it off. But he became somewhat confused as the man then suddenly stepped back and firmly placed his right hand against his chest, wincing in pain. The man gasped for a moment before stumbling backwards and collapsing inside of the house. Only his feet passing the border that was the old wooden door, which slowly started to close itself. Yet it stopped as it gently hit the old man's body. The young boy tilted his head like a confused dog, still in character. However, he couldn't grasp the situation he was experiencing. The most he could conjure up would be an innocent yet slightly delinquent thought. I bet he's trying to scare me back. I'll show him. The young boy crawled over to the bowl of candy, which still sat on the rocking chair. He was tempted to grab the entire bowl and make a run for it, but at the same time he felt as if that decision would haunt him. He silently read the phrase once more. "Take no more than 2, please." The bowl of sweets, it was tantalizing, yet he read the phrase again. "Take no more than 2, please." He stood up, taking off his mask and holding it by one of the horns with a small hand, painted the same shade of green as the monster's horrific face. He looked down at the bowl now. "Take no more than 2, please." He then looked to his left, seeing the old man's feet peeking out from within the house. The boy looked back at the bowl, slowly reaching down in order to take a handful of candy. He then suddenly looked back at the door, expecting to see the old man attempting to startle him back. The man laid still, his bare, wrinkled feet still exposed to the cold October air. The boy then mustered up the courage to speak. "Sir," he asked, "are you okay?" No response was heard from the disheveled man, as he still laid down, not moving an inch. The boy looked back at the bull. Temptation filled his innocent mind. Take 3, take 4, take the entire bowl. Go inside and see if he has more candy. The boy ignored these thoughts, for now at least, being reminded of the cartoons he watched, as a little angel and a little devil would often appear on a character's shoulders, telling them to do good and bad things respectively. Yet the boy only heard the words of the little devil. Kick him. See if that'll make him react. Slap him, stomp on his stomach, drag him onto the porch and slam the door against his head. The boy shook his head from side to side, covering his ears as his breathing became heavier. No matter how hard he tried to ignore it, he still heard the little devil whispering into his ear. Eat the candy right in front of him. That'll get him to sit up. Count how many candies you eat, too. The boy couldn't do it. He knew something was wrong. No matter what the little devil told him, he couldn't do it. This wasn't a prank anymore. There was something wrong with that old man, and the little boy didn't know what to do. All he could think about was how many candies he should take. Spill the candy all over him. Spill it in his mouth. The boy grasped his head, getting flakes of green paint on his face and in his wavy red hair. He started breathing faster and faster. He read the phrase on the bowl once more. Take no more than 2, please. He couldn't stand it anymore. Something was wrong with that old man, but he didn't know what it was. The boy slowly, hesitantly, walked over to the old man, who was still laying on his back. He stepped over the man's still body and walked into the house. The man's neck was craned back, revealing his Adam's apple, which was as still as the rest of his body. The boy slowly walked further into the house, stopping just before a flight of stairs that the man's head was angled towards. He couldn't have been lying like that the whole time, right? After looking back at the immense flight of stairs, the boy turned around and finally saw the man's face, which caused his eyes to widen and his hair to stand up. The man's eyes were wide and wild, despite the fact that they looked up at nothingness, not moving an inch. Yet at the same time, the boy felt as if they were following him, staring deep into his soul. The man's face looked as if it had been frozen solid, being a grim, deathly shade of white. The man's mouth was frozen open, wider than a human's mouth should be. The expression on the man's face would be one that encompassed pure, unbridled terror, a deadly terror. The boy remembered reading stories about people who died of fright, thinking that it would be impossible. How could someone literally get scared to death? The boy couldn't comprehend it. He couldn't understand the sheer gravity of what he had done. This man was dead, and he knew it now. He was staring at the face of a dead man. He didn't care about the candy anymore. He wanted to run home crying to his parents about how he scared a poor old man to death. The boy then heard gentle footsteps coming from above him. He must have screamed. He didn't know that he'd screamed, but he must have. Someone else, or maybe even something else, was now awake. The footsteps came to the stairs, prompting the boy to turn around. He saw an old woman dressed in a loose-fitting nightgown and a pair of comfortable-looking slippers. She had white hair which stuck up every which way. The boy didn't know if her hair was white with age or with fear. The expression on the old woman's face perfectly described the horror and anguish she felt. Her lip quivered for a moment, but she eventually stuttered the word, Gerald? Tears ran down her face, and she collapsed onto her knees. The boy still looking up at her in confused terror. The old woman then started to scream as the boy screamed along with her.